Cities across East Texas are becoming go-to spots for retirees, and it's easy to see why. Affordable housing, nearby health care, and a lower cost of living make the region especially appealing for people looking to enjoy their later years comfortably. But as KLTV 7's April Peardant reports, as more people reach retirement age and move into the area, it also raises important questions about the future.
We are aging.
Manuel Reyes, the director and senior research analyst at UT Tyler's Hibbs Institute for Business and Economic Research, calls it a gray tsunami, with large numbers of baby boomers retiring faster than younger workers are entering the labor force.
It's not a potential problem for East Texas, it's for the entire nation.
The U.S. population structure has changed dramatically from 1970 to 2022. What used to look like a classic population pyramid with lots of young people and fewer older people, Reyes says it's now looking like the opposite.
The top of the pyramid is now growing, and younger generations are not having as many children as they used to. That has an impact.
Over time, this can lead to labor shortages.
We may experience that if we see this trend to keep going.
Reyes gives us the analogy of a blanket. The working population is like a blanket that supports the economy through taxes and productivity.
Now, if elder people are not that active as consumers, you are relying your economy, the blanket is of certain size, and the blanket needs to cover more people. So when you have a larger, younger population, the blanket is bigger and you can do more. As the blanket shrinks, you're more limited.
Adrian Cornejo, the director of Area Agency on Aging in East Texas, says the amount of older adults needing their assistance has spiraled.
Over the past years, we have seen a noticeable increase in the request for services from our senior communities in our 14-county area.
Cornejo says a huge trend in needs is on housing.
Housing, regarding the shortage of affordable housing and mobility of our senior community, is a challenge that we are facing.
Reyes says he sees this as an opportunity. An older population increases demand for health care, retirement communities, and senior-focused services. For example, counties like Wood County have an older population than they did in the past.
In Wood County, they decided to take this as a strategy. So they are bringing older population to the county. They are providing products and services that older people need and want.
Reyes says many of these older residents move in with money, spend locally, and contribute to the tax base. In that case, a higher old age dependency ratio actually works in the county's favor.
Wood is doing great in that sense. And the fact that we have the old dependency ratio larger or higher in Wood County, it's good for them, but it's not always the case. It depends.
Reyes says aging in East Texas isn't a simple problem with a simple answer. It's a bit more complex, and it all depends on whether communities plan ahead or react too late.
We need to think about this today so we can be prepared for the future.
April Peardant, KLTV 7 News.
By 2030, baby boomers will be 65 or older. That means nearly 1 in 5 Americans will be a senior.